Aesop Scalzo here this week with...
Matt Howell.
See, you're just not hip with the kids. You know, it's all
Right.
about the Aesop musician things now. You just gotta, I'm trying to appeal to a younger demographic, Matt. So, just this week on the first run, Matt and I are going to discuss Hustlers, Alphaville. That's right, it's the end of our French New Wave marathon. Hustlers, though, is the Big Short meets Ocean's 8 film that you've all been waiting for. Maybe you haven't. And with Alphaville, it wraps up our French New Wave marathon. So, of course, that means we'll be doing our French New Wave marathon awards. And I think this is it. Alphaville is a science fiction noir film. And if anything is going to grab Matt, it's going to be a science fiction film with a little bit of noir dashed in.
Sure.
So
We'll
maybe
see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm feeling confident or less confident with every moment. So let's hear a clip, though, from Hustlers.
Hey, these are my sisters.
Hi.
Hi.
Ramona.
I'm Gary.
Gary, nice to meet you.
Annabelle.
Hi.
Isn't he so cute?
Yes.
Hi.
And
Hi, Destiny.
and his hair.
Can I have
Oh,
some
yes,
shots?
Gary. You know who he looks like, don't you?
He looks like Tom Cruise.
No, I'm
Tom
thinking more
Cruise.
silly, more sci-fi.
No. It's your smile.
It is. I thought a little
It's really good.
mini Bob
It's
Baggett.
really-
More sunny.
Yeah, he's got a twinkle in his eye. Here we go, guys. Oh, is the wine yours?
That's it. No, this is...
Oh, okay, cool.
All right.
Shots, lady?
Okay,
Yes.
You guys are sisters?
Yes, same dad, different mom.
Sisters. Sisters.
Two sisters.
Man, it really brings me back listening to that clip because of the movie. Okay, Matt, so why don't you tell everybody at home what is Hustlers all about, and do you have any personal connection with what happened in this film?
Sure. So, Dorothy is a struggling young mother trying to take care of her family, her grandmother specifically, played by Constance Wu. She works as an exotic dancer. She's struggling. She's not doing very well. She's kind of fed up with having to give a cut to all of the different pieces of people in the club. So she hatches a plan with Ramona, played by Jennifer Lopez, to start taking advantage of some of the customers as they go forward, facing it around stockbrokers and things like that, people who can potentially afford it. And then hubris leads to a fall, as it always does, Chris.
That's why I try and stay away from as much hubris as possible. I think I
Of
stepped
course.
in some once, and it did not go well. So Hustlers, Matt, is being touted by some as a masterpiece and one of the best films of the year.
Okay.
Also, possibly featuring Jennifer Lopez's best performance since Out of Sight, which, if you're familiar with the show at all, is in the first run canon. It is one of the films that, at least I certainly hold up as one of my all-time favorites.
Right.
So what do you think, Matt? Is Hustlers just a tour de force film, breaking new ground, making new statements, and relaunching Jennifer Lopez as a serious actress?
Okay, so let's kind of unpack all of that. Is it one of the best movies of the year? It very well might be, but I feel like this is a particularly weak year, so I don't know if that's faint praise. I think it's good. I just don't think it's the revelation that people are making it out to be. I think Wu and Lopez are really solid. I hesitate to say that Lopez is out of sight good in this, but it's definitely her strongest role in recent memory. Kind of thinking back onto her oeuvre, I wouldn't hold The Cell up there as one of her strong points, but yeah, I think it's a good film. I don't know if it's a great film. I just don't know if it's because it's so different than kind of what we've seen before, coupled with the fact that it's a very good film, a good film in a weak year, if that's what's kind of giving it more buzz than I think maybe it deserves.
Okay. I think that's fair. I will say that I think this is Jennifer Lopez's best performance since Out of Sight. I think she is fantastic in this. She's grounded and really emotionally anchors this entire film. More so, I think, than even Constance Wu does, who really is the star of the film. Jennifer Lopez is more of a supporting role or co-star, or however you want to put it. But Lopez really, I think, is the draw on this. And she's really just fantastic. And I also appreciated the film's female-focused narrative. So this is based on an actual news article So this is actually something that happened. And it's written and directed by a woman. And it has I think a very strong female-focused narrative. And also, I appreciate the fact that it portrayed sex workers in a positive light, right? I think it's something in this country that's starting to shift, which I'm very happy about.
I think it's funny though. That you're saying it's portraying them in a positive light,
even though they're committing crimes.
Even though they're drugging people, and the whole beginning part of it is basically how to kind of spot your mark and kind of string them along for everything that they're worth. That's one of her main lessons in the front of it. Like,
you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I don't think these are bad people, but I don't think they're good people either. So I don't know. I think that might be something that's not really fair.
Yeah, I think I may be more just talking about the profession more so than the choices made by these characters.
Sure.
All right. If women stripping or men stripping, whatever the case may be, isn't necessarily because somebody is a degenerate or there's something wrong with them, or that's what I'm talking about when I say sex work in a positive way.
Sure.
Now there are individuals in every business and every career in society who can do things wrong, basically, which is what the conceit of this film is, where you basically, as I said in the opening, have a mix of The Big Short and Ocean's 8, right? So it's a heist film, sort of, against the backdrop of the financial crisis. And that is how the characters basically justify what they decide to do. It's because of the fact that these Wall Street brokers basically almost took down the entire world's economy and suffered no consequences for it. So that's, I think, also, I mean, I think I could get there. I think if I'm in their shoes, I could get there.
I know. It's funny that you bring up Ocean's 8. I think I would go to a better film. You know, obviously Ocean's 11's a much more superior film, but I think it's funny how you root for this gang of thieves who are just, you know, at the end of the day are criminals, you know, but we're all okay with it because they're robbing like the casinos, which we view as bigger criminals and more corrupt. So it's okay. And I think it's just always interesting to kind of see those films like that. And what's even weirder about this one is this is a true story, or at least it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
So,
and what happens too is when they have a mark, if you will, that's not as evil as these Wall Street high rollers are, then, you know, the film takes a turn and you realize, you know, you're kind of along for the ride and you're enjoying all of it. So you're like, yeah, that's right. Get him. Yeah. But then when things turn, because there is a certain character who it's not enough. And they're basically running out of clients and marks. When they start working on strangers, and that's when things go wrong. And everything kind of snaps back into the focus. Like, oh, wow, this is bad. This is very, very bad.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this a lot. I thought the mixing of those two genre films, like we said, The Big Short, and for me, Ocean's 8. Probably I'm saying Ocean's 8 because of the female, focus of it. I think it works really well, and I think this is a better film than Ocean's 8. I think it's much more interesting and entertaining.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's damning it with faint praise if we're being honest here.
So fair enough. And also too, I thought it was interesting too to tie in the impact of the financial crisis to the strip club market or that business. Right. How badly they were decimated as well, just like everybody else who lost jobs or had 401k hits and all that stuff. It's interesting because there's certain aspects of that stuff you just don't think about, and that was one that just never even occurred to me.
Yeah, I know, that is funny. It's like it's like you're thinking about, like, you know, mom and pop stores shutting up, but then your friendly neighborhood strippers, they don't have anybody to throw dollars in their G-strings. So what are they going to do? How are they going to make their ends meet?
That's right.
It's funny to think that I certainly would not have thought of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and is there any other slight criticism of the film? I think it goes for this, it does. It goes for this kind of family empowerment thing, right? That these women are relying on themselves, but they're together, they're a group, and they're a family supporting each other. And I didn't get any emotional resonance with that until basically the end of the film. It didn't really work for me until the last 15 minutes or so. Yeah. So I think that's a bit of a drop, unfortunately. Maybe that Lorene Scafaria didn't hook it soon enough for me. But outside of that, I found the thing to be very entertaining, And outside of the rather risque subject matter, and there is some nudity in this one, folks, obviously, that it's still very entertaining, and I had a lot of fun with it. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I guess, I'm not trying to be contrary just to be contrary. I'm just trying to, for me, I would pump the brakes a little bit on this kind of glowing, effusive praise that you read. Because I read some of the reviews after I watched it, and people like really love it, but they're acting in such a way that it's good and it's going to have a cult audience. I think this thing is going to live on for a while, but is it great? I don't know. I think it's just good. I think it's solidly good. And even as we were talking, I was kind of looking back through Jennifer Lopez's IMDb page and just looking at her roles. It's not hard to say that this is her best role since Out of Sight, because everything between that and this has been pretty terrible. So
there's some people saying Oscar possibility for her.
Honestly, maybe, but I still think we're kind of early into the awards season, so some stuff may still come up. But even thinking about the Oscars, yeah, I mean, I can't even think of any films that I was really blown away by and saying, like, yes, this person has to be nominated kind of thing.
Given the limited market that we've been exposed to, particularly with the traditional Oscar fare, I would say at this point, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see.
But I think I could even probably make a pitch there for Florence Pugh in Midsommar as well. Really.
Yeah, but if Toni Collette wasn't going to get it, she's not getting it.
No,
so.
That's very true.
Unless it's some kind of like, oops, we done goofed kind of nomination kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that. As long as McConaughey gets something for The Beach Bum. Good Lord, I love that film.
Did you kind of want to see like some of the Wolf of Wall Street cameo guys to show up in there?
That would be kind of awesome. Funny.
Yeah, if like McConaughey came in doing his chest thing.
That would be awesome. And I was being sarcastic, people. I hated The Beach Bum. Hated it. I think I said that I wanted to punch that movie in the face. I really dislike that thing.
The only reason I like it is because you hated it so much. That was one of only its redeeming qualities.
I get angry just thinking about it now. I'm giving Hustlers, Matt, a B+.
I'm going to give it a B. So, worlds apart as usual.
Indeed. You know what's funny? Whenever I hear the word hustler, I always think of that one line. Are you familiar with the Mystery Science Theater episode Werewolf?
I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen it.
It's near the end. It's near the end of the run. I think season 8 or 9. And there's a line where the female lead, she's playing pool, and some guy, she does well, and the guy asks her, "Are you a hustler?" And it's who is it? Servo goes, she is the woman. She goes, "No, I was in Hustler." Because she's not a very bright, it's, I don't know what it is. I always think of that line every single time. I should have pulled that as your stinger, but I wasn't thinking. Dang it.
You're a hustler.
No, I was in Hustler.
All right. B+ for me, B for minus. Hustlers is in theaters now. I'd say go see it. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. And I don't know if I'd take your mom, but it's still a good time. Unless, your mom's a freak. Who knows? Good for you.
Hide your kids.
Hide your wife. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, let's take a minute and talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. There's a very interesting event about to happen. It's got nothing to do with this clip. So I like to deliberately, lead you astray.
Over here, Andy.
Leave me alone!
Over here. If they don't let us play, they all go away.
Why are you doing this?
Are we having fun now?
Are you my best buddy?
If they don't let us play.
So there's a clip from the 2019 version, the reboot, if you will, of Child's Play. I give it a B-. Matt, you gave it a C+. But now we can go ahead and check that out on home video if you so choose. Includes a making of, a soundtrack trailer, and then bringing Child's Play, Chucky to life, some other claymation featurettes. A couple things I want to talk about. While we were recording this show, Matt, I got an alert on my watch because I'm very cool. I have the Knight Rider watch that, gives me alerts and stuff, and I can talk to Kit. Rick Ocasek has died.
Oh, no!
Yep. 75 years old. Makes me very sad. I was a big Cars fan, if you're not familiar with Rick Ocasek. And that is too bad. They had to got it back together and put out a new album about 6-7 years ago, which wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty good. And there's a couple of his solo albums I like. But man, that first Cars CD, that's a greatest hits album in itself. You can just pick up even just that first one. But still. So I guess I'll be listening to some Cars tonight or tomorrow. That's
some Cars and then some Eddie Money.
That's right. Eddie Money passed away this weekend too.
Yeah.
It's a bad time to be an 80s music icon, or late 70s, it would appear. The other thing, too, Matt, is 2 days before September 24th, on September 22nd, all the individual Star Wars films are being released. So you previously only be able to get them in a box set, but now you'll be able to get all of the original 6 films individually for the first time. And there's new artwork for every one of them. They all are similar in style, and it looks like they're using some of the old posters, though, on each one. So you can Google those and check it out. There are rumors bubbling up of possible 4K releases to come out with the new release, or the release of the new film at some point next year when it's released on home video. So we'll have to see about that.
Okay.
And we'll see if ever, those original versions will be included and then cleaned up. You think that's going to happen? I know we talked about it at the time when Disney bought everything from Lucas.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of clause in there that Lucas put in there, but I don't know. But, I mean, knowing Disney, they certainly would because, I mean, if there's money to be made, they're going to do it.
What they would do is they would release the Lucas cleaned up versions on 4K, and then for Christmas of 2020, you can buy the original versions cleaned up in 4K.
Yeah.
That's what they would do. Bastards.
I don't know.
And then never be cheaper than like $30.
But at least you can get it, right? So that's something.
Struggling musician Matt realizes he's the only person on Earth who can remember the Beatles. That's right. The film Yesterday from Danny Boyle is getting its home release, includes feature commentary with Boyle, as well as an alternate ending, some deleted scenes, and more. Oh, an alternate opening, too. And, of course, the always hilarious gag reel. Speaking of gag reels, the relaunch part 2, 3, I don't know really what's going on with it. Shaft with Sam Jackson, and then you have Richard Roundtree, and then the kid. I apologize, I don't recall his name, is being released. Includes some deleted scenes, a gag reel, and then a 3-part A Complicated Man, The Shaft Legacy. I did not see this in the theaters. I'm a Shaft fan. I love the original film. I enjoy parts of John Singleton's Shaft movie, particularly Christian Bale and Jeffrey Wright, who played the villains in that film. They are fantastic in that movie. Luke Besson attempts again to start a new young woman action franchise with Anna. This one, just the trailer looked atrocious. I don't even know at this point how Luke Besson keeps making movies. I don't think I've seen a really good one in a very long time. New to Blu-ray is The Circus from Criterion, starring Charlie Chaplin. There's a new 4K digital restoration of the 1969 re-release version of the film, featuring an original score by Chaplin, a new audio commentary featuring Charlie Chaplin biographer Jeffrey Vance, an interview with Chaplin himself from 1969, a new interview with his son Eugene, and more. Criterion is also releasing Local Hero. An American oil company sends a man to Scotland to buy an entire village where they want to build a refinery, but things don't go as expected. A new 2K restoration on that one. This film features Burt Lancaster and Peter Riegert. Scream Factory, Matt, is releasing Vampires, the John Carpenter film starring the absolute a-hole James Woods, is being released. Not a terribly good film, starring I think the least of the Baldwin brothers. Daniel, is him or Billy? It's Daniel.
Billy, I think it's Billy.
Is it Billy?
I think it's Billy. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Steven's got to be down there now.
True.
But you can pick up Vampires. Warner Archive is releasing the great film noir, The Setup. If you haven't seen that one, that's a great one. I have that on DVD. Arrow is releasing both Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 with brand new 2K restorations of both films and a slew of new features. So you may want to check out those if you are a Hellraiser fan. Include some deleted scenes as well. And Hellraiser 2 has the surgeon scene, which I guess is a legendary deleted scene that people have always wanted to see. Hellraiser 2 was one of the few films I had to turn off.
Really?
I was watching it when I was a kid. I was home alone. I had the lights off and I was watching. I must have been 12, 13. And there's a scene, they're in the mental institution, and the guy is lying on the mattress, and he thinks he's covered with bugs. And the scientist, or the doctor, or whatever it is, gives him the straight razor. And then he starts cutting himself to get rid of the bugs.
Oh, yeah, right.
That freaked me the hell out. I had to stop the movie, turn on the lights, and kind of just sit there for a second. And then watch the rest of the movie. I don't know if I've watched it really since. I watched the first Hellraiser again last Halloween, because I hadn't seen it in a very long time.
Right.
And I think it mostly still holds up.
Yeah, it does. It does. I like the original Hellraiser. I thought it was pretty good.
Speaking of great films, Galaxy Quest is getting a 20th anniversary release. If you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, it is very, very funny and very good. You can check that one out. It includes a Never Give Up, Never Surrender, the intrepid crew of the NSCA Protector. It celebrates the incredible talented cast. And this had a big cast with Alan Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, and then another not-so-great guy, Tim Allen. Some deleted scenes are included in that as well.
Don't forget Sam Rockwell.
And, of course, Sam Rockwell. Thank you. Warner Archive is giving us Action Jackson. You have Carl Weathers' Action Epic is being released on Blu-ray. Then, of course, Major League 2 and Major League Back to the Minors, both getting new Blu-ray releases. Here's straight to DVD Pick of the Week, Matt. Oh, this is awesome. Skate Town, USA. I just want to listen to this right up and tell me you don't want to see this movie. Street gang leader challenges a handsome young skater in a championship contest at the local roller disco rink. This is actually not a straight to DVD pick, technically. This actually was a theatrical release like in the late 70s.
Okay.
But a street gang leader, so he runs afoul of a young skater. So what does the gang leader do? I'm going to challenge you to a skating contest in the roller disco rink.
Nice.
Which is clearly how those things would go. And of course, it features Scott Baio. And then a pre-fame, who the bad guy is played by, your street gang leader, Patrick Swayze.
Oh, nice.
So what should we be streaming this week?
In honor of the remake of Child's Play coming out this week, I'm going to recommend the original. The original Child's Play, practical effects, and a possessed doll as opposed to AI run amok. A just campy bit of 80s slashers horror ridiculousness. It's available on Amazon Prime. If you're a fan of horror films, the Halloween season is ramping up. Amazon Prime, Hulu, they're all releasing large amounts of horror films available to you, from the classics to all the way down to stuff you've never heard of that you'll probably never get a chance to see again. So check it out while you can. It's the best time of the year for if you're a horror film fan.
All right, Matt. I think this is it.
This is the one, huh?
This is going to be the one where Matt comes around on the French New Wave Marathon. It's a little bit 1984, right? There's a little, you can see the seeds from other science fiction classics in this. Let's spend a few minutes, Matt, and talk about Godard's Alphaville.
Il arrive que la réalité soit trop complexe pour la transmission orale. La légende la recrée sous une forme qui lui permet de courir le monde.
So, Matt, you know how they replicated that voice? You know what they did to get that voice to sound like that?
No, I don't.
They actually had a guy who had his voice box replaced with like a little mechanical device because he had throat cancer.
Oh, all right.
So very pleasant.
Very good. Yeah. Wow.
So Jean-Luc Godard's Alphaville. Let me caution, Matt, is a secret agent codenamed 003, or just 003. I guess we don't want to worry about any lawsuit issues. From the Outlands, and he's sent into Alphaville, Matt, to either bring back a scientist or kill him. Find out what happened to the prior secret agent who was sent in, and then destroy the super fascism, world-destroying, galaxy-destroying machine, Alpha 60. And then maybe he'll fall in love along the way. So, Matt, our French New Wave Marathon comes to a close. Was this film the one that finally turned you? It's got everything you love. It's got gunfights. It's got science fiction. It's film noir. It's got dames. It's got hard dialogue. You know, there's a car chase that goes at least maybe 20 miles an hour. I mean, there's lots going on. What were your thoughts about Alphaville?
Yeah, so where do I even begin with this thing?
That it was awesome? You can start there.
I will say, while saying that this is the one to bring me around and into the fold, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely the one that I enjoyed the most of the ones that we've watched. It still has some avant-garde, like stereotypical French weirdness in it, like
Very
you
much
know,
so.
like but I think I was more on board with this just because it was a quote-unquote science fiction movie, so it had that kind of weird science fiction avant-garde sensibility that I was able to forgive it some of its weirdness because it's felt more in tune with its genre, I guess.
Yeah, it's still somewhat surrealistic while you're watching
Yeah.
it, so I was a little concerned about that with you, but I didn't know if the rest of it would be enough to hook you. One of my favorite things, too, is that secret agents clearly don't tip. They're very Mr. Pink about it. You know, it was really funny to me every time. At one point, too, where he just slaps the bellhop's hand away from him. But I really enjoy this, Matt. I think it's Godard. The thing is, all at once he's mocking and then paying loving tribute to film noir with this. I found it to be just bizarre and yet entrancing. You know, I really I was in love with every little weird thing that happened with it. Walking down the hallway when each room would tell you if it was occupied or available. You know, lots of just weird little kind of things that were happening in this. I'm not really sure. It is an interesting and fun and wacky little ride. I like how they used these brand newly constructed buildings to kind of represent that it's in the future. Because you got to remember, at the time, all those buildings were brand new. So it may have looked like maybe what the future may have looked like. But I think you can see a through line here to stuff like Blade Runner, where you have a mix of modern machines, or modern technology, because he's still driving a Ford Mustang, right? Mm-hmm. Surrounded by new futuristic stuff, but everything's still grounded in like an older kind of sensibility. So, yeah, another thing I appreciate, it doesn't really leave you any time to figure out what's happening. It doesn't really care that you're just basically along for the ride here. I found it to be kind of very heady and intellectual at times. The way that some of the dialogue is and the narration, and how there's also that constant, the Alpha 60 machine also narrates half the film too, which I found interesting. So I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I'm happy to hear that you mostly did too.
Yeah, I think I think I just want to clarify. I want to defend myself a little bit here. It's not that I'm against avant-garde or like kind of surreal images. I'm okay with that. Even just like something like Climax, another French weirdo film. But I really enjoyed that. And that was that had a lot of strange images, a lot of stream of consciousness. I think really what it is, and this is really no fault of the film itself, but I have difficulty removing myself from it, is that this stuff has been done so far in the past that even though this is the first time I'm seeing it, you've seen it kind of parodied, and like the bits of it have been parodied and kind of as when they when you watch these films, and this is no different when you think of like pretentious art film kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that they show. That's like the joke kind of thing. So it's hard to separate the two. I mean, they're sitting there, the two main characters, they're having caution and they're having this discussion about love and what the meaning of life is, and she's like standing behind him and moving her fingers across his eyes while he's like stares into the camera, and it like all like fades into black, and then like it's like them staring off into the distance by themselves. It's just stuff like that. I get what they're doing. It's just that it becomes it's just suffers by, I guess, its own iconic nature, I suppose. So I still appreciate it, I guess, on its own terms. I definitely like this the most out of the ones we watched. So kudos to you.
Whew, I'm glad. That's why I wanted this one to be the last one. Okay. I felt like if there was anything that would turn you, it might be this science fiction noir film that he did. So that's good to know. Did you know that Eddie Constantine plays Lemmy Caution, which is an actually
awesome
established
name, by the way.
Huh?
Awesome name, by the way.
And it's an established fictional character. There were previous movies where he played this role, like a Roger Moore playing a James Bond type thing.
Okay.
What I found interesting when I was doing some research for this is that this film was upset a lot of the Lemmy Caution fans that he was ousted from the role and never allowed to play it again.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because Godard basically just took the character, and they didn't really have a script. It was mostly improvised again. And they just went nuts with it. And all the, all the Bond fans, if you will, all the Lemmy Caution fans are like, oh, hell no. They felt that he had done such a disservice to the character that he was never cast again.
All right.
And blew up his whole career because of that.
Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy. Thank you. Thank you for that tidbit there.
You're welcome. So, what are you going to give Alphaville there, Matt Howells? Seduction third class?
Grading on a curve, I'm going to give it an A-.
Okay. Well, I gave it an A. So, I loved it for its wackiness and yet still really fascinating and interesting science fiction, film noir themes. This was right in my sweet spot, so I rather enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Alphaville? And you have some thoughts about our French New Wave Marathon? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. All right, Matt, now it's time to hand out some awards. Everybody's a winner here. Everybody gets a trophy. So we're just going to be throwing them out like Tic Tacs. So let's start everything off, though. And you know what? I couldn't resist it. I had to bring it back for the award ceremony. So enjoy this one more time.
The pretty girl. The bad boy. Le revolver. The nice guy. The naughty girl. The wise guy. Film noir. La petite américaine. The thief. The hanky-panky. La police. The bikini. Jean-Pierre Melville. The Shades. Humphrey Bogart. Renoir. Le derrière. Action. Adventure. The chase.
That, of course, is the 50th anniversary trailer for Breathless.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that. Okay. So, so we're going to run through, Matt, actor, actress, scene, and then best film. We excised director because we only saw, two directors?
We all saw two directors. So which one do you prefer, Chris? Truffaut or Godard?
I know, right? I don't really know. I probably ends up going just with what my favorite film ended up being. So I think you can just make the inference from there once we get to that.
Okay.
All right, Matt, why don't you start everything off? Who do you think was the best actor in our French New Wave series, and what film were they in there?
Okay, I think it's going to be kind of boring for you, but I think Eddie Constantine as Lemmy Caution, his hard-grizzled, pockmarked face and his gruff demeanor, his anti-temping stance, everything, I thought he was fun to watch. If I had to give a runner-up, I would probably say maybe Charles Aznavour from Shoot the Piano Player.
Fair enough.
For me, my runner-up.
Yeah, no, both of those are wrong. It is clearly Jean-Paul Belmondo as Michel Piccard in Breathless. He is your criminal on the run, just a guy trying to get by killing a cop. So, but still, he is, I don't know, there is a kind of coolness about him, even though he's an absolute jackass and not a good person. But still, out of all the performances we watched, I think his was my favorite. And my runner-up, though, would clearly be our boy there from the 400 Blows, whose name I'm blanking on myself now. The child star who is absolutely fantastic as Antoine, and that is Jean-Pierre Lloyd. So, there you are.
Yeah, I think... I think your choice is wrong. I could get behind your runner-up, but I really disagree wholeheartedly with your first choice. Well, but such is my prerogative.
Yep. No, everybody's entitled to be wrong. Best actress, Matt. I think there's really only one choice here.
Okay.
I think one of the big issues with this whole series is the fact that we've had a dearth of, I think, strong female leads. Now, I think maybe more is a sign of the times, as Prince would say, but maybe you could make an argument, I think, for, because actually I seriously thought about making it Anna Karina from Alphaville. But when I really thought back on it, I think really the only option is Jeanne Moreau from Jules and Jim. I just think that she's the driving force in that film that drives those two men crazy, basically. Yeah. But she is magnetic on the screen. So she's my choice for the best actress in our marathon.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's basically my entire thought too. I mean, Jules and Jim, maybe we'll rank these as we get through. It was probably lower on my list, but Jeanne Moreau was very good in it. But Anna Karina was right up there with her too. She was pretty close, but I'll go with Jules and Jim just because she was more magnetic. Jeanne Moreau.
All right. Works for me. Matt, what was the best scene? What was your favorite scene from this marathon?
Believe it or not, I'm going to go back to Jules and Jim. Just them running through the streets, especially that long shot as they run down the, the covered bridge as they come towards the camera.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought about that one too. And then the bicycle scene, even though it's very brief, there's just something really awesome about that scene. But no, again, you are incorrect. I do apologize. It is the psychologist interviewing Antoine in the 400 Blows. We're just sitting there and talking, and he's just talking about his life and everything and how matter of fact he is. Just speaking about what his past and his life and what he does and what he thinks and what he believes. And it's fascinating and heartbreaking all at once. And it is, I think, I'm running out of words, of adjectives here. But it was the scene that moved me the most out of this whole series. So.
All right.
I want to mention too, Godard, though, in Alphaville, an honorable mention for me was Caution entering the hotel. That was one long take, and I really kind of appreciated that. So that was very well done.
Right.
All right then, best film of the series, Matt.
Gonna have to go with Alphaville. Knowing what I know now, I would probably maybe adjust some of the grades, but I still think Alphaville would be my favorite.
Fair enough. No, it's Breathless. I'm not sure. I'm sorry that things didn't work out for you this time.
But it's funny that the two Godard films are the ones that are our favorites.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's your answer in regards to the director.
Yeah.
It is indeed Godard. So, but yeah, no, I loved Breathless. It's so hip, so cool, so much style, and I would watch it again. So, and thankfully too, I had blind bought this as a Criterion sale. Thank God I loved it. Oh dear God. So yes, that would have worked out for me. But I think Breathless was the best film of the series. So, did you want to try and rank them?
Yeah, sure. That's pretty easy for me. So I'm going to go Alphaville. I'm going to go... I think now, after having watched them all, I would actually put the 400 Blows second. Even though I knew I was underwhelmed for it, it's kind of grown on me the more I've thought about it and watched the rest of them. Then Shoot the Piano Player, Breathless, and then Jules and Jim is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, I would start... My fifth place would be Shoot the Piano Player, actually. Then I would go Jules and Jim, then Alphaville, then 400 Blows, and then finally, obviously, Breathless.
There you go.
So that was awesome. Now, I thought for next year, Matt, I'd threatened to do round 2 of this, but I have a better idea.
Oh, can you fill us in?
I'm going to let you choose. You have all year to think about it.
Okay.
German or Russian?
Ugh. Christ. All right, I'll hear to think about it.
I really want to see Stalker, which I believe is a Russian film.
It is a Russian film. Actually, I've heard of that. I've heard a lot of good things about that. I am actually very curious to see that.
Yeah, Tarkovsky's Stalker is supposed to be fantastic. It's a Soviet science fiction film from 1979.
Yeah.
And so I would push maybe for, I guess I should say Soviet, not so much Russian films.
Yeah, that's true. Because, hey, maybe we can get an East German film in there, and then it'll be just 2 for 1.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there are a bunch of Russian films I'd love to see. So maybe we'll do Russia next year.
Guys, thank you for going along with us on this journey here. The next marathon is mine. It's a nice palate cleanser. Something that it's cinematic confection. So,
yeah,
you'll have fun listening to it.
All car movies.
Yeah, car chase movies.
So there you go. Vanishing Point, Duel, The Getaway, Gone in 60 Seconds, and then The Driver.
Mm-hmm.
So I own one of these. So I will be on the hunt for a lot of these.
Hey, me too. I'm right there with you, buddy. Although, Gone in 60 Seconds is available on Amazon Prime. So
It's the original, though, right? We're doing the original.
Yeah, it's the original.
Not the...
It's the original. Yeah, we're not watching the Nicolas Cage one.
All right, good.
Not that it doesn't have its stupid charms, but no.
That's what we should consider doing too. Is a whole we could do the whole podcast just on Nicolas Cage movies since he does like 5 a year. Catch up with all the crazy stuff that he's done.
Yep, there'd be so many stingers too.
Dear God. You mean this, Matt?
You're in my shirt! You're in my shirt!
That is some classic stuff right there. Mandy is a Trip, folks. If you haven't seen it, check it out. All right, Matt. Next week, it's going to be a potential double feature of awesomeness if I can work it out time-wise. Next week, this upcoming week is going to be a little crazy for me. But the plan is Ad Astra and Rambo: Last Blood.
Oh, nice.
So, you know what, Matt? That's what I think. I think that.
Hey, just relax, amigo.
I don't have any Rambo clips, so I had to grab Cobra. Cobra, the what is it? I read a tweet about it, or maybe it was a headline of an article that I'd like to track down. Cobra, the franchise that got away.
Very good. Interesting.
Yeah, so that would be good. Anyway, as we slowly crawl to an end, Matt, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, at thefirstrun.com, and check out all of our fun stuff that we do. It's relatively entertaining. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. Matt, why don't we go ahead, take a quick little extended break, and we will see you all soon.
The Anky Panky.